There we go. Yeah, I'm in the car.
Oh, good. All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 49 of Honest Hour. And, tonight we have another guest here in the building to sit down and have a conversation. This brother right here is a dope MC. He has his own merch for the MC. He also he also will be an artist. An artist on on the spotlight on a showcase rather coming up December 14th. He sold the most tickets. He's now the headliner. We're gonna talk about all that. This is CJDK, formerly known as Cracker Jack, but but that's what he goes by now. How you feeling tonight, my brother?
I'm doing all right, Mike. How you doing?
I'm alive, man. I'm alive. I'm well. We're healthy. That's all we can ask for. That's all
Word.
we can ask for.
Infinite blessings. Hell yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we just gonna hop right right into it.
All right.
Right in- Where originally are you from?
So I grew up in Florida, New York. Majority of my life, I've lived all over the 845. I'm currently in the Windsor area, but I've done plenty showcases around the whole entire 845 area, Orange County in general. Uh, I've been I was 16, 17. Veg, uh, big veg, rock road press,
Yeah,
and engineer. So he kind of helped me hone my skills as far as the recording process and punching in and doubles. And then yeah, as fate has it, he happened to be behind the ciphers that John Eldred of Central Sun Studios, my current engineer. Uh, it's kind of funny how everything just came together, like fully. So I had taken a break for a few years, and then around 2019, that summer, there was a cipher, and I got a slot in there. It was like 10 people. Was actually kind of like the spark that got me back into actually proactively pursuing music. And then ever since then, I've been on this like venture to do what I've been currently doing. Figuring out how to exactly approach this from the business side. And so far, it's been really good. Like really good. Like
that's what.
it's good enough. It's good enough to pay the bills, man. Keep everything going. But like everything's been a blessing. Going forward, like everything's like falling into place. Like you put the dominoes in a certain way. Like now everything's like falling into place.
Okay, okay, and yeah, it's all about growth and getting better and growing to where we want to go. What
Oh yeah, the journey in between. That
ab-
journey in between is definitely where brought me to this point.
absolutely, absolutely. So what was your first experience with hip hop music?
So as far back as I could track it, like just like the exposure to like different different artists. Like we had the internet growing up. Like everybody had like access to it. YouTube was like a revelation at that point where you could actually like fully get legally to anything that was available. But
Right.
before that, there was like streaming down. Like before streaming, there was downloading, and torrenting and everything. Everybody had like access to that. And then at the same time, I had older cousins and you know uncles, and that just happened to nitpick through what I liked, like over time and everything. But I do remember the first the first song I ever heard that like really like mesmerized me and like I memorized as far as you could say hip hop would be Clint Eastwood by Gorillaz, Del the Funky Homo Sapiens part, you know, where you almost see the video in your head, right? You know, like the genie pops out and finally someone let me out of my cage. Now time for me is nothing but I'm counting no age. I was just mesmerized with it. It was just one of the first rhymes I memorized, and then managed to have my hands on Grand Theft Auto 3 in like fourth grade, and all I did was listen to Game FM radio. So I listened to, I found out about Sean Price and Royce the 5'9", and it was kind of like a 6 degrees of separation type thing at that point. Like, you know, like whoever collaborated with who was like, oh, I like that guy. Let me check out for this guy, that guy. And over time, like, you know, you find out what you like and what you don't. And then, you know, whatever kind of like pop growing up, you know, like kind of got to your attention. You know, there was that weird like fine line that's like now been like broken, you know, as far as like mainstream and underground. It's not like, you know, like it used to be more like preferred to be considered independent, but now everybody's doing can do like there's like almost no barrier. Like as time went on, music kind of grew exponentially, like different trends, different styles, different flows, like, you know, so to kind of like find your way within there, it's kind of like, you know, I kind of like whatever, like, you know, connects with me, you know, on a spiritual level, at least, you know, something that's got just like any piece, like it could be anything, you know, it could be anybody, but like as far as like my journey went, like, you know, after that, like I was listening to a lot of DMX, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood was my shit. I love the album cover. This shit was still like one of the gnarliest album covers ever. And my cousin used to rave. It was, he dropped 2 albums in the same year back to back, and that was his favorite. And actually happens to be my favorite too. So, you know, and kind of like expanded from there. So like whoever was like, oh, you should check this guy out, check this like, or check this out, like Method Man, Redman, you know, Biggie, Pop. So yeah, I found my own way around to what I liked, you know, like expanding on my own shit. Like I really like Ludacris growing up a lot. Chicken and Beer was one of my favorite albums. Like I had some of the most like craziest experiences just off of shit that like anybody be like, oh, you like this guy, you should check that out. Like it's just been, you know, like ever since then, like I just really started like I wanted to approach it in my own way and start writing, you know, like again, like you could download anything online almost, you know what I'm saying? So you could have like, you know, all the instrumentals were at your hand. So you could like, I was like, oh, cool. Like maybe I could try this out. And like, God, it was so awful. Like, yo, like that first rhyme is always gonna like haunt people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, it was so garbage. Like, there's only like a few people that like probably remember it that like I've ever showed it to. It was like one of the worst things ever. I'm glad that it's gone. Like I'm glad like I got rid of that shit. Like it's done. But yeah, man, you know, like over time, like I kind of just found like what I like certain like I don't really have like any like direct inspiration, I think, anymore, you know, like it's just like more like an appreciation now, you know, like I've ventured I ventured backwards a lot in time, like with music, like in general, not just hip hop, like, you know, like R&B, soul music. I love funk. I love funkadelic. You know, like I found myself like looking for inspiration elsewhere now, you know, sometimes like just to get like a different vibe. But overall, as far as like top fives go, like top fives change all the time. Like it's insane because like there's always like something that you could find like, oh, somebody might have done this before, like did this better. It's almost like again those ethos, like the concept of biting, like people biting styles and how they would rhyme and everything. It's just like, you know, there's so much influence from all over. Like, you know, it's more like there's no coastal sound anymore. There's no like distinguished like sound like with that like almost any coast could like identify with. Like, you know, like East Coast was very like boom bap, you know, and then everybody kind of like started like meshing with hip hop and R&B. Like it's created some like really good songs, you know, like really good songs. So like there's only like so many different ways. It's like there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's peanut butter cup, you know? Like there's so many different ways that you could like pretty much like combine things you never thought would sound like crazy as it may. You like gotta hear it first to see how it sounds. But like it's the same thing with the writing aspect. You know, you find a beat that you connect with, you know, and either you spend like a good like hour on it and get something, or it's just like, all right, fuck this next. Like, you know, I'll come back to it type shit. Like I find myself like stacking, like where I'll write a few bars. I'm like, all right, I'll come back to that and like write something else, or I could piece that with something else, like, you know, that ties in with it. Like, so like rather than just focus on sitting on one track at a time, like, you know, it's like keep it moving because the attention span to the game has changed
Oh,
dramatically.
absolutely.
You know, like people want rapid fire, like consistency. That's why you have a lot of artists dropping 3 projects like a year, 3 to 4 projects a year. And that
Well,
type
I
of
don't.
hustle,
Mhm.
that type of hustle is like inspiring, you know, at the same time, especially if like, you know, it like stays consistent, you know, like there's a lot of consistency in it too. It's kind of like got that hunger aspect is back again, you know. It's just that it's like it's not it the numbers might not match on the streaming, but like the how the merch goes, you know, the physicals, like the direct fan base, like that's what it's all about, is connecting with, you know, who's invested in you as an artist, you know, like who's invested in feeling the same way that you feel like on a daily basis, or like at one point, you know, like how you connect with that. So
Well, I also think that there is a such thing as oversaturation. There's nothing wrong with multiple projects. Like there's this one guy I listen to named Sky Zoo, right? He released a project. It was dope. Like I don't know, like earlier this year. I want to say like April or May. And like I joined this hip hop page about, and I've seen his post about new hip hop. There was like 40 albums in there. Most of the artists I had never heard of, but he popped up, and I was like, damn, another project. But like I think if it's going hand in hand, like with everything you're doing, like you know, between the between the what you call it, between like the merch and just the shows and stuff, it's really easy to not have that saturation. Whereas if you're just doing the shows, it's easier for you to have that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, damn, you're just doing shows on top of making all this music, and that's not a bad thing. But you know, you want to give people some more. You have to give people some more at that point to not so they don't feel like it's saturation. But I mean, if you're hustling, and there is nothing wrong with 4, 5 projects in a year, if that's what someone wants to do, you know.
oh yeah. I mean,
When
it also depends on like, you know, how much is going out. Like, you know, like it's not like you said oversaturation. Like when you talk about oversaturation, you talk about like the body of work, like how many bodies of work. You know what I mean? Like what exactly like would be like oversaturation to you? Like in your opinion?
if you're dropping 4 releases, and we're talking like if you're dropping 4 EPs, one every quarter, that's not saturation because
Yeah.
those 4 EPs can equivocate to an old school album of 20 to 24 songs. Now, if you're dropping full length albums, you know, you're talking 15 songs a piece,
Okay.
60,
Yeah.
60 songs, that could be oversaturation. Now, some artists can get away with that. Look at Chris Brown. Chris Brown will throw 60 songs on an album, no one bats an eye. Um, Papoose dropped an album, but it was more like EPs, but they had like, well, yeah, 9, 10 songs. He dropped
Yeah,
an
he was
album
dropping like a consistent album a year. No, an album
a
every
month,
month, right?
you know.
Yeah.
So when but he kept it fresh, and I think the only reason he did that is because excuse me, he was retiring, and he wanted to leave a stamp and do something that no one else had done. So we can't I can't knock him for that at all. He did what he needed to do. He did his thing. You know,
Yeah, it was like you said, it was like 9 or 10 tracks, but like, so that's what I'm seeing a lot in like these cats that are dropping like 4 track, four releases a year. It's like the max is probably like 10, 11 tracks, and every single project has been consistent. Like one cat that I listen to consistently is Pro Dillinger. Anything that he drops has been like golden for the past like few years. Like he was dropping EPs for a bit, then he started dropping like 10 track, 11 track projects. He's got this one project, it's my favorite this year, called Reasonable Dirt,
okay,
and that's one of his monikers, Dirt Lord. So like, doing dirt, like play on words like reasonable doubt, and probably one of the most consistent projects I heard this year. And he just dropped a new one recently with this producer, Future Wave, fire, like just consistent fire. So like for some fan bases, like that's what I think is needed, like that consistency, just consistently giving the fans what they want, because it's not to say that the fire burns out, but over time, like, you know slow money don't make no money. You got to go get that shit. Well, fucking, it's time to cook, you know
absolutely, absolutely. So when did you realize that you wanted to be a rapper?
I kind of dabbled with it. I was like, I started fucking dabbling with writing when I was 12, and I would like write to the point where like my hand would hurt, type shit though. So like I really like enjoyed it. Like I wanted to do it, but like I wasn't sure about it. Like like, and then around like 15 years old, I was like, nah, I really want to do this. Like I was just like really like obsessed with it. Like I filled out like a good half of a composition notebook, and I spent my time filling that book out till like 10th grade. So like I spent like a good 2 years filling that out, and I was like, all right, yeah, I definitely want to do this. And a lot of those rhymes got recorded at Vege's studio in
Okay,
Rockland back in the day. I've known Veg for a good 17 years, and again, he taught me how to punch in. He taught me how to do doubles and everything. Like vocal tone on certain ways you say the doubles and everything, all that shit. Like you can change. Man, there were so many different things going on. Like the process now is just like, now it's like I know exactly. I go in there, like I got the whole science broken down on how I want to say what I want to say when I say it. Like every time I look at a verse, I'm like, okay, I got it. Like almost instantly. Even if I have the time to practice it beforehand, which I prefer. Those are the smoother sessions. But you know,
right.
over time, I kind of like, I fell in and out of it. Life things happen and everything. Um, but there was like times where I would like do showcases, and one time I won a mixtape party's first prize. It was $250, and that was
Okay,
my rent. That was my rent because I was living at my homie's crib, and his grandmother was like, "You gotta have the rent money next week." I was like, "All right, bet." And I had that shit like the next day. It was beautiful. So like it was
yeah,
yeah. So like moments like that, it's kind of like feels cliche to say, but there's like times where like, oh shit, hip hop just saved my life. Like here we go again. Like
yeah,
it's some cool shit. It's what makes me feel like connected to it even more on again like a spiritual level. Like I really enjoy the shit out of this. I still do, like to this day. Like even times where I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. Like I'm thinking about it, like mostly. And it's funny because like, music's always been around like my life. Like it's just in general, like everybody fucking gets together over the same type of ideas and shit. Like that's how like it's a good way. It's a
Absolutely.
good way to like speak a different language.
Absolutely.
Like
How,
just with like what you're feeling. Like, and another thing too is that you can't get once you get like very like addicted to something, it's like it almost becomes like second nature. It becomes a habit. At one point, it became a habit to like like I've done battling. I like it, and I don't. Like certain things about it, but like overall, like I love watching like people like go at each other's heads at the same time. Like I really do. Like it's like just to keep the craft sharp, but like from my own personal experience, like like it's fucking insane to like have like a whole crowd with you, like 100%, and like you get to walk away with that victory because like that's the school that I came from was you had to be nice to be able to even like be considered to do this. But now everybody's tapped into how to manage themselves and market themselves, you know, at the same time, you know. So basically you could have the option of like, just making you could just basically just do it yourself, man, skill set or whether this no matter where the skill set's at. And at the same time I can't knock a man getting his money, man or
right.
woman.
Because you can just do whatever you need to do to get the bag.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, like, there's that scale where like, you know, again, like, like there's the people that actually like respect the craft. And then, you know, like there's people that really like care about the craft that much and like represent the shit out of that. Like there's dudes like and you can make like music out of it. Like, that's like crazy, like out of like Tech Nine. Tech Nine is one of my favorite examples.
Oh
Like
man, so
that
underrated.
that guy now people like again with the saturation shit, like he drops like 20 track projects like consistently. He'll drop like two or three, and some of them are like collabos, like strictly, and like that shit is insane. Like it's still like he's still able to like he mixes a lot of genres and shit too. So the way he's tapped into like he was sampling opera in his music before like anybody, you know what I'm saying? Like this one album he had called Absolute Power, like he was sampling opera OD on that shit, like risk taking. That's another thing too, is that a lot of people used to set trends, like there's not multiple trends anymore. It's almost like it's become like every trend's just become a marketing scheme, eventually somebody gets to it, you know, and sometimes it's for the good, sometimes it's for the bad, like, you know, and you kind of like find yourself looking for what you're like, you know what you like. So like you go look for what you like enjoy. That's why these top five conversations sometimes become arbitrary, you know.
So then, if so actually, I'm gonna ask you a question, and then I want you to name your top five.
Oh shit, here we go.
What albums have changed the way you see hip hop?
My favorite album of all time, all genres across the board, is Illmatic. And that right there is the least bit of saturation of an album. That's like 10 tracks. One of them's an intro. So it's like
Yeah.
9 songs. And that to me is like a masterpiece. Like, as far as that goes, that album. And I always make this joke. Illmatic's like my Old Testament, and Ready to Die was like my new. Like that shit was crazy. It's like, you know, one one felt like a documentary, and then one felt like literally like just like King of New York, you know, like beginning
Hmm.
to end. And then I said Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood earlier. Like this list could go on. Like there's so many albums, like, that there's so many like gems that I've come across like from like every decade, like almost, like it's the list is endless. Like that's why like I feel like it's almost arbitrary, you know, because like my top five changes like consistently, but like all time is always gonna be like generic as shit.
And what? And who is it?
So I would, that being said, I'd say Nas is definitely as of recent my favorite. Like he's definitely number one, like at the list after his work with Hit Boy, King's Disease, 3 in particular, like no features. It had like a good few songs and like a good amount, like maybe like 17, I believe, and just back to back, just bangers, like consistency. You know, almost shit had me rearranging my top 5 Nas albums type shit. You know,
Yeah, like yeah, shit was like legit, like a
yeah,
thing.
yep. And then I'd say number 2 would be M, especially Slim Shady LP. I mean, you Marshall Mathers LP. That like I feel like that's definitely like his magnus opus. It's like his number one like project with like Slim Shady LP. The storytelling on that shit was bananas. Like the way he told Brain Damage, as the world turns, just like the out of this world shit that he was saying on there. Man. Bad Meets Evil, introducing Royce the 5'9" into the game with that. Like I was just wild. Like so as far as his lyricism goes, like he loves the craft, and like I appreciate that love of the craft, you know what I mean? Like he's fucking almost robotic. Like his penchant to rhyme like is insane, and how he treats it like a 9 to 5
Oh
almost, you
yeah.
know, but at the same time, like again, it's second nature, you know, like and he always surprises me somehow, you know, like says some like outlandish shit. Like, man, after like 30 years, like still saying some most off the wall shit and like putting it together, you know, like even if like, you know, like the way that he connects with like the songs that like dig deep too sometimes, you know, like especially his new album was crazy.
Oh yeah.
But those, the Somebody Save Me and Temporary, like I'm like, yo, like if you can't connect with that shit, man, I don't know. Anyways, let's move on because there's 3 more. Number 3, I would say, is Jay-Z. My first Jay-Z album was Reasonable Doubt. By accident, I wanted Blueprint. Um, I guess I picked the wrong one. I picked it out of my grandmother's catalog, and I checked off the wrong box or whatever. When I was a kid, she would let me pick out anything that I wanted. Like, you know, she was like my second home, my nanny. So she let me pick that out, and then I got that, and it was probably one of the greatest accidental albums I picked out ever, like beginning to end, from Can't Knock the Hustle to the remix and Regrets, the Evils, Brooklyn's Finest. I was already like, you know, like mind blown by Ready to Die, so it was like, you know, like him having songs with Biggie was always crazy. That Brooklyn's Finest, I Love the Dough.
Oh
That
yeah.
was off of, yeah.
Bring It
And
On
then
is my favorite song on that album.
oh yeah, and the Fat Joe sample, like what's it called? That's from the D&D All Stars. 1-2 Pass It was a big ass posse cut. They had KRS, J. Rue the Damager on it, like listed names. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like all Sauce Money was on that song too, and Jazzo. Like it was like a perfect combo.
Definitely
That was a
worked it.
perfect combo. That
Great,
trio on
great.
that song. And then what was it? Oh yeah, Cannot Live. Cannot Live is one of my
Oh,
favorites too. That Isaac Hayes sample.
yeah.
That shit was heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
All
no,
right.
it was legit.
So number four, I'm gonna say Pac. Very much, very much a big fan of his last 3 albums. Like Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me, and like just how like crazy it is. He was like ready for war. The Don Illuminati 7 Day Theory album. Like he was like ready for war. Like, and that's the hard part about being a fan of like all these artists that he was going to war with. Like You know, like he was going at everybody that I
Absolutely.
enjoyed on that album, and it's like hard to hear sometimes, but at the same time, it's like, yo, he was like mad, like but again, like the way that he connected, like on on the serious songs, the way like even like the fun, even the fun songs, like you could tell like he really enjoyed what he was doing, like like doing I Get Around, you could see he was enjoying himself, but then he'd do something like Brenda's Got a Baby. It's like, oh, great. That's wild. Like to have that imagination or to piece together that story or like just how like real that shit is, like insane. Like the way he connected to pain and at the same time still was able to like transcend some joy into the music that he did was crazy. Like, and to say he's not lyrical, because there's always this like there's always this idea like that like I always hear from people that like he wasn't lyrical. It's like, yo, like you haven't heard If I Die Tonight, you haven't heard Trapped, like, like nah, like this guy was crazy. But definitely a big fan of Me Against the World. Like I was actually listening to that album earlier.
One
So
of
yeah.
the best albums of all time.
Yeah. Growing up, I really liked All Eyes on Me, but I appreciated Me Against the World over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then number 5, Biggie. Uh, aside from Ready to Die and the fact that he got cheated out of life early, just like Pac did too. This tragedy, the back-to-back shit, and just the connection with that. But you know, Life After Death was like such like a masterpiece, like especially for a double album too. So like, but aside from that, like his body of work wasn't that small. Like he was doing features with like names that were back in the day that were like top of the line MCs. Like he was on joints
Hmm.
with Sadat X, Grand Puba. He was on anybody that was hot at the time. He was on everybody's remix. Like so with features alone, he's got like a whole 2 albums worth probably. You know, like he did a song with Michael Jackson. Like that's
That's dope.
fucking hell yeah. Do that before your 30s. Like damn,
Right.
crazy.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the generic list. I don't think.
Yeah, it sounds generic only because like like I don't know, like again, like there's so many people that I've been influenced by, like in general, like as far as albums go, like I said before we even got into the top 5, like the list goes on, like you know like my daughter's first song was Cream, and I'll never hear the end of it. So like but 36 Chambers, was like very much like one of those albums that like, sticks out to me if I can go like make like a top 25 list. That album. What the album from Redman, his third album, Muddy Waters, like uh Raekwon's first Cuban Links, his second Cuban Links too, especially in high school. That's like a back to back. Like, I can't wait for the third one, the part 3 to come out that they've been talking about for years. But like there's like all these different
Thing.
like influences from all over, like I was just very actively like just seeking out like whoever I liked within 6 degrees of separation, you know.
Right. Like it's hard when you're trying to justify different different means to like how you identify your music. People identify music differently, and it's like I always say, excuse me, music is subjective.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. Like it's subjective. So I know we got a little bit of a time limit, so I'm gonna move ahead. I want to get into the to what are you working on right now? What is it? What do we got coming on the way from you for the people to listen to?
So for now, what I've been doing is I've been dealing with my customers directly. I've been sending out 4-track mixtapes via email, sometimes with the purchase of a hoodie, a t-shirt, and it's like, I do bulk deals. Like you buy a bunch of shit, like price goes down a little bit on certain items, and as far as future projects, I've got, well, currently I have out 3 4-track mixtapes. uh While You Wait, volumes 1 through 3. Each one's got 4 tracks on them. I'm gonna be dropping 3 more mixtapes, another mixtape series coming soon that I'm working on as well to tie in with that the first 3. And then I got 2 EPs and an album I'm working on at the same time. So I just locked in some features from some artists uh with some names behind them. I just gotta reach out to one more person before I could say all those names. But shout out to SC Static, shout out to Judah Phenom. They both hopped on this track with me. It's gonna be one for my bucket list. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but yeah, I'm working on quite a few things. I have been actually for the past few years. This whole mixtape series actually evolved out of the idea of doing the 28-track mixtape. You know, basically treating my music, like any other hustle. The easiest hustle that like everybody's been like, everything just comes together.
Right.
So like rather than sell everything in pieces, you put it all, you just give out a fucking decent amount of product, like a decent amount of like, so I'm just doing like freestyles, all the beats that I enjoy, hearing whatever appeals to my ear, whether it be old school shit, new school shit, and just put it all together. So like it's like, all right, cool, you bought like a hoodie, a shirt, a beanie, here you go. Here's a 28-track mixtape, like just to go with the shit. At the same time, like the the merch is helping, so the merch and the music go hand in hand, but the merch definitely helps get the awareness out. And in all honesty, like I got people asking me like, yo, send me new shit like all the time. Like whenever you do this song, they ask me, you writing anything, and be like, yeah, I'm working on this right now. Like, oh, let me hear that. So it's like, all right, cool. I'll let you know. Do you want a hoodie? you
Yeah.
know?
So,
But at the
and
same time, like it's a lot of love, yo. It's been a lot of love. Like sometimes people will be like, yo, they send me like extra bread, and it was like, yo, like that was crazy, you know. So that kind of like kept me like, okay, so how could I like keep doing this? I started off with like doing like 1 track for like $10, and then like I figured, okay, like a few for 25 would make sense, then what I'm saying? It's like as far as like a bulk deal. So it's like I could basically like it's like the everlasting gobstopper of music. That shit ain't gonna like end. So I could just send that shit out. Like, I've been dealing with people directly. So before I expand any further, I'm gonna wait till I have all the paperwork together. Again, I got a lot of things that I plan on doing that are like crazy as hell that I just can't talk about yet. But like it's gonna be some crazy shit. Some bucket list shit. Like a lot of my heroes been dying. In the past few years, a lot of heroes been dying. It's like it's just like a reminder that you know mortality is a thing. Like like we're not here forever. It's crazy. So like I decided I want to lock in with like some artists that I think that I'd like to like really like rock with, not just like MCs, but like I'm looking to work with a couple vocalists and as well, like I want to like start like experimenting, now that I've got like all this like in line. Like I might as well just like add different pieces that up, like it's like about time. It's like I keep going. Like I've been doing that with the mixtapes as well, like so like you experiment with different ways how to hustle your product, just like anything.
so then name 5 local artists you would like to work with, preferably 5 you haven't worked with,
Oh shit.
and and name 5 industry artists you'd like to work with.
Oh damn. All right, copy. So I've already worked with a few 845 artists. Uh so I'll shout them out. really quick. I'll shout out the ones that I have worked with, and I'll shout out the ones I like to work with. We'll do that. So
Okay,
you're gonna
fair
get
enough.
probably like 15 answers. So I'm gonna shout out my man's P. Dot Ghost, uh, my dude SC Static, my dog Judah Phenom, uh, my guy Brucey the Pope, my man Jay Berdacia, damn, and free my dog Big Bucci. Gotta say that first and foremost. Free my dog Big Bucci. My man's is one of the nicest motherfuckers used to rock with Fred the Godson back in the day. But
Rest
we'll
in
talk
peace.
more about yeah, rest in peace, man. But yeah, man. As far as artists I would like to work with from the 845 in the future, honestly, anybody. Real talk, anybody.
Yo, my man just said, forget five, anybody.
Anybody. Nah, honestly, what's it called? If the concept is dope, the track is dope, fuck it. Let's do this shit. Like, like there's too much talent out here. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody, like let's get it. Let's lock it in.
And what I think it is too is that when I look at the 845 and I look at all the talent that's here, it's just asinine. Like how much talent there is and how many people can do different avenues and different things and have different means of success
Let me
through.
tell you something. Actually, that whole 845 cipher that I did at Summer 19, like that whole entire like lineup was crazy. Like if you
That's the
check out
one
those
that
lineups, everybody in these ciphers, like there ain't been like man, like everybody got their own like niche, like they fit in. Like even the ones that I've been in, like they're so man. You can name off anybody in those fucking
was that the
ciphers.
one
These motherfuckers are dope.
was that the one on the
Decaf, I
basketball
know
court?
Decaf Black for years. That man is fucking fire. Soul IMC, fire. I met Noble at that cipher that day. Fucking everybody that I've rocked with on these ciphers got something. Fucking Chain Tutter, he was on one that I did. Yellow Pound Cake, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking Nickel Plated L. Like there's so many in the 845. Like there's mad talent out here, man. Like there's no reason why we ain't working with each other. Like there should be no reason. You know what I mean? Like everybody can get this shit. It's just again strength in numbers.
That one in 2019, that was on the basketball court, right?
Yup.
Yeah, that was the one where Judas said the line. The line. Now, he ever tell you about the line?
The line. Which
Yes.
line was that? That was a whole 16 of lines. That shit was
Oh, no.
crazy.
At the end, this dude said, "I'm taking the world before the devil can take it." Bro,
Mm-hmm.
when he was on this show, like I put a whole section of the interview in to talk about that bar. He was like, "Bro, you're never gonna." That bar is 5 years old. I'm like, "Bro, I'm gonna hold on to that." God forbid something ever happened to you. Your funeral. If I'm there, I'm saying that bar. That bar. You get married. I'm saying that bar. You have another kid. I'm saying that bar.
There's
That bar was so that shit just resonates in my brain. You
even
know,
cra- even crazier shit, man. Like fucking what's it called? That's actually one of the reasons why I jumped on this cipher in the first place. Because I heard Judas' verse. It's like, okay, I have to be on this now. Because that verse was like insane. I tell him all the time too. I'm like, yo, that verse like revived me a little bit. And everybody that I met that I didn't know already was like fucking like mad genuine. Like I Smiles was really cool. Uh me and Frizzy became homies like off rip from that. Like, like that day, like I bummed a cigarette off him. I was still like fucked up from the night before and shit. Definitely fucking somewhere fifth deep in tequila somewhere and shit before I did that the night before. And then fucking I was like, yo, man, like, can I get a cigarette? He's like, yeah, no doubt. He's like, yo, you're the one that said that Cardi B line. Like, that fucking shit is fire. I'm like, oh shit. Like, good looks. Like, like after that, man, it's been nothing but like, good vibes with him. Actually, that guy right there is an anomaly. and me and Judo actually talk about that. Shout out to Rap and Frizzy. That guy is the ideas that he has is just insane. Like the thoughts that he be thinking on some pussy shit, like wiping back to front. Like that guy is gnarly.
You know, I've been back to front.
Yeah, like I'm like you're terrible. But at the same time, he's so dope, bro. Like, like everybody got their own fucking niche that I've rocked with. That like, I could say like I could see why. Oh man, like there's too much talent out here, man. There's too much talent out here. Like we got to do something about that. So like, yeah, I want to work with anybody, real like anybody I've been on these ciphers with. Uh, the legendary Jay Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different names. Like, I could go off these lists and shit. Like,
I was
too much talent.
watching that cipher earlier. It was SVR, Yellow Pound Cake, Chain Tutter, you, and damn. You guys did the video on the Heights. There's one I forget the first artist though. Forget his
Yeah,
name.
that was the what's it called? The Rebirth of Slick one. The Cool Like That. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's you know, those ciphers I feel like everyone brings their best. Be-
Yeah.
because you really like I don't want to say it on air, I have to say it off camera. Um I have an idea for something with a cipher. I ran it by John at work, I think yesterday, and he liked the idea. Um, but I feel like if you come into those situations where like it's like damn, like I gotta bring it. Like certain artists they always gonna bring it. Like why you think Meaty Bone been on like every cipher? Like
Yo, that's another guy. That is another guy that is nice. All right, first off, that cipher, I don't want to sound biased, but that's my favorite cipher I've done so far as like, you know, consistent, like in short and sweet. Like, like I think that all the other ciphers are fucking crazy for the fact that like it was very much like everybody was in tune, no matter how many people were there. Like that's the give and take with that. Like even the one that had Mikey D in it was really crazy. We talked about that, like how there was like a big ass lineup, but like everybody brought it. Everybody brought their shit. That shit was
no,
ridiculous.
that cipher, right? Before Judah came on the show, I was revisiting all the ciphers. And like that one came up, and I'm like, yo, I don't like that cipher had so many people. I forgot half of the people that were in it. Like,
Yeah, man. That's why I'm like, yo, like I can name off every name. Forgive me, everybody, if I can't remember everyone. But like, you know, like there's so many. Like it'll keep coming to me as we keep talking. I know it will pop up in my head. Like, well.
you what?
But yeah,
You were on there. Judah A1, Mikey D was on there.
nah,
I
that
think
one I wasn't on. I actually missed that.
you weren't on that one.
No, I
Damn,
wasn't on that one. I missed that one. I was actually sick. I believe that might have been the one that I had COVID for.
damn, you couldn't have even been on that one if you wanted to. With Cove.
Yeah, pretty much. That was like what 2020. Yeah, I had COVID,
Yeah,
but
that cipher was mad out of pocket. Like me and John were talking about that. He goes, bro, I probably because like now his new format of how he does it, I think will work better. Um,
yeah, yeah. I like the idea that like the top five best verses picked by judges. Like that's that wasn't too bad. I mean, it was definitely some good choices, and it was definitely some stiff competition too, especially with like everybody that was on it and shit. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
everybody, like again, everybody brings their A game to this shit, like at all times. So like I'm never I'm never like disappointed with it though. That's the thing that I like about these ciphers is that like everybody like everybody brings their A game, everybody's on point, everybody sticks to their script. Like they do their fucking thing every single time. But this one was very like organized. like you said, the process now, it's more like it's more it's got that brevity to it, to the point where, like, it doesn't, like, kill the attention span.
Right, right. Well, and you always want to bring the best to anything you do. And
Yeah,
that I think that you know for the ciphers for John, it became a lot.
yeah,
Respectfully, it became a lot in the idea of okay, like we constantly like his music, his ear for music's a little different than mine, a little more harsh, only because he understands that side, right? I don't
yeah.
understand the science behind engineering and production. So for him, like I will think something's good, he'll be like it's terrible because he understands that science and certain things that he can't help but to listen for and hear.
That's one thing that I really enjoy about working with John, is because he don't miss words. He'll tell you flat, nah, do that again. Like, and that's what I need sometimes too. Like, I always ask, you think I can do that better? He's like, yeah, let's see if we can do that better. Like, you know, he gives me the opportunity to, like, find it myself too at the same time. But as far as the process with, like, chopping up some of these beats, will be like, okay, I need you to make this sound a certain way, da da da. It kind of it gets very tedious. So again, like, that side is no joke. Like, that's shit's got to be nerve wracking. You got to memorize a lot of, like, different fucking techniques on how to fix this, that, and the third, setting the levels, you know. So, like, yeah. As far as, like, the difference in sound, like, he's gonna hear something different, because the way that he fucks with sound. You know what I mean?
Right. So before we were talking about your merchandise. Tell everyone watching or like what kind of merch you sell, where can they find it, and how much the merch cost.
All right. So as far as cost goes, I of kind of played off like some t-shirts with 25 bucks. Hoodies are $35. I do snapbacks. Right now we're waiting on an embroiderer for beanies. Again, shout out to Judah Phenom. He's been the man behind the merch. If anybody has any merch needs, first and foremost, need you to holler at my man Judah Phenom. That guy got some crazy deals for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And his work is always on point. So again, all the stuff that we've been and everything. Not only is it on point, like, we've been messing with different color schemes. We let our customer base pretty much pick out what colors they want. Like, I had somebody that got a black snapback with a pink logo.
Dope.
So yeah, like, I've been giving people opportunity, and the thing is like, I've been making I've been making a lot of fans off of doing this shit at work. Like, got almost half of the warehouse that I work at, rocking my shit. It's pretty cool. And then, bucket hats. I do bucket hats as well. Bucket hats we do for 25, but, like, again, like, the more you buy, like, who knows? This shit kind of, like, changes. I kind of, like, after, like, 2 items, I kind of, like, tweak the price. So, like,
Right. Once
and
you buy
as far
more.
as reaching me, you can reach me at on IG at Cdjk SNS underscore 845,
Okay.
and I'll take down whatever it is. We'll figure it out. What color scheme you want, for snapbacks, or if you want, like, a beanie. We're gonna have beanies coming soon. Right now we're taking pre-orders for hoodies, t-shirts all the time. You know, so get your pre-order in. You know what I'm saying? Get your color scheme in. We gotta talk about yours too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's coming along, I got some stuff in the works. I got a lot coming, but it's 2025 is
Hell yeah.
gonna be my year. Last this year I grabbed the brass ring. That was my promise to myself. Next
Hell
year
yeah.
I'm gonna pull it, and a lot's gonna happen, and it's gonna take off,
Hell yeah.
including this. So for those who don't know, I have joined a company that goes by the name of All Right Entertainment. And me and my business partner, Anthony Galloway, also known, or we call him AR, very, very strong individual, very hungry to get some of the best artists and really showcase their talent. So I was invited originally, I was going to become an employee of this company. And I was given a percentage in the company. And right now, um, we're working towards our Winter Fest showcase in Queens, Jamaica Ave, December 14th. I was given a slot for 10 artists. I believe I have seven. Um, and I asked Cdjk to be one of those artists. And I had some artists be like, "Oh, I don't know," but you were the one that was like, "Say less. I'm doing it." Like it was that. So now you so now not only has he been brought on to perform, he has been he has been he has been he has sold more tickets. Oh, hold on. Oh, might have lost him. Gotta wait for him to come back.
My fault. I got disconnected.
You good? Good old technology. All right. Good now?
Yep. Yep, my bad. Sorry about that. Just had to
Good.
fix something really quick.
So I was saying, not only is he now performing at this showcase, he has sold more tickets than any other artist for this showcase. So now, not only does that mean that he performs, they've moved him to the headliner. How do you feel about that? Like knowing that your grind will has gotten you into a position to. Oh, and not only does that mean now that he headlines this show, they want to create another show solely with him as the headliner and to fill this up. Like, what does that mean to you? Like, just being asked to do a showcase, and then based on ticket sales, now you're the headliner for this show.
I mean, this is kind of what I worked for, and it's kind of it's a different like vibe. It's a different feeling. Like I'm actually like I'm really humbled, like I always feel like I'm not working hard enough sometimes, and to see that like the work actually like coming together, it's kind of cool. I don't know how else to like feel about it yet, but I'm definitely like again, this is the shit that I worked for, my whole like been doing this for like a long time, 20 something odd years. Like it's kind of like, you know, I can't put it into words right now, like it's definitely some cool shit, man, like I can't front on that. It's definitely some cool shit, but I expect to do this as like often as possible. That's like a goal. That's like a goal for like every show now. Like if that's the case, or if I could working towards that. Whether I get that or not, that's cool.
I think that shows like this, you have to strive. Excuse me.
Nah, you good?
Strive and do the best you can. For me, it's good to know because I joined this group solely to have some way to help put spotlight on the 845.
Mm.
This is very important to me because with the amount of talent here, we need something to show that talent to the world. We need that. We deserve that. And this is only the beginning because now, due to that, they want me to do a show. I'm gonna be somewhere in the city again. I need 30 artists. You know, I really am trying to push them to do something up here, but I guess I gotta earn my stripes first with one show before. Um,
All right,
because
so we'll make that happen.
because my idea is a lot more broader for up here. It's it's important that it's here in the 845 with us. It's important to me that we do that we accomplish that feat. You know,
Absolutely.
they're even talking about a second show. They wanted to do it this month. I said, bro, it's December. I ain't filling up no show this month.
Mhm.
Like on that short notice. It's just not happening. Let's talk about February or even January. Gives me time to figure it out. All the
Mhm.
business savvy stuff sucks because I gotta meet these deadlines.
Absolutely.
So so are you excited and looking forward to this performance?
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm always looking forward to performing. Judah's gonna hop up on stage with me and be my hype man for this shit. So I'm extra excited. We might have something planned for that. Other than that shit, like man, like I'm excited. Honestly, I'm excited to see everybody perform. Not just perform myself, but like there's something about like catching the whole show. Like I feel like some people just don't appreciate anymore. Like even just doing my own showcases throughout the years and the other all the other artists I've seen perform. MCs, singers, guitarists. Like bands. Like the way that it all comes together is like what it's all about. And I think that everybody's gonna have a good time. I know that I am. Shit, fuck. I'm
Listen,
a, I'm I'm fucking around with the fucking track list right now, honestly, as we speak. Like just today, like what we can do different. Like my one goal is to do a different type of performance every time I perform. Just to make it interesting for myself and like actually have fun with it. That's the one thing that made me want to like actually start doing shit to a point where I can actually like, okay, like let me go have fun with this elsewhere. You know what I mean? And everybody that's popping out for this show already knows what the fuck they're in for. So this is gonna be dope. I'm actually really excited to do this shit.
well, not only that, you want to challenge yourself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Always challenging myself. Always gonna challenge myself. But my 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 idea of challenging myself is just having fun.
Right?
Just having fun with what I do.
Like you definitely want to challenge yourself, and you want to be in a good position. There we go. Freaking
Yeah,
computers, freaking computers acting nuts. You want to be in a good position, and you want to do real well while doing that. And when you're opening yourself up, love you too. When you're opening stuff up to different crowds, right? This is different territory, so to speak. Um, you know, it can be again. You want to have excitement, you want to have fun, you want to have a good time, you want to enjoy yourself,
yeah,
and I think I think everything will go real smooth with this show.
oh
You want,
yeah, man. I've been checking out the lineup of who's performing and shit. Who's got their flyer and everything. This looks like it's gonna be very interesting, man.
yeah, like it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a vibe, a lot of network.
Yeah, hell
This
yeah. What's it called? My guy Vaughn. Shout out to Vaughn, man. What's it called? He's on there too. he was checking out some of this shit and even tapping in with me. We were talking about Terrorist. I'm excited to see Terrorist perform. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's another guy. Shout out to Terrorist. Like, I've been keeping an eye on his work for a minute too. That guy is. I'm hyped to see him perform. I've seen him do some. Man, like again, like this is gonna be a good show from what I've heard so far. Like checking everybody's like different socials and their Spotify's and all that and their YouTube. Like, you know, like this is gonna be a dope show.
Yeah, you know, because he was Terrorist is actually the second highest ticket seller on the show.
Hell yeah, I like that. That's dope. Let's get it.
So pretty much, some of the I brought him in as well, right? So
Yeah.
two of my artists are the top selling ticket sellers for this show. To me, that's just showing that the talent's there, the fire's there, and the means to get the job done. You know, and that's what it's about.
Hell yeah, man.
We have to stick together and band together for this. This is going to be a great opportunity for everyone, and it's going to show growth. You know, I the guy I had on here Tuesday, BDG Pop. You know, young up and coming rapper, hungry to perform, hungry. Like I just like he found me on Instagram. I said, listen, you know, you want to perform? He goes, where? Told him where. He said, when? I said, well, here's the date. He said, say less. Then, like, literally, I kid you not, within 7 minutes from I sent the first message, do you want to perform? 7 minutes later, he sent me a confirmed email. Like said, it's done. And then the next day, he had a flyer.
Nice. Yeah, that's what's up.
You
That's
know,
what's up. I like that. That shit is dope.
you know, so like
Yeah.
that's where we're at now. Like now, I'm starting to you know, now I'm starting to hit events in the city. You know, and now like I was at a rap battle last week. Funny you talk about battle rap. I was at a rap battle last week.
How was that?
That was dope. Dope vibe. Showtime is chill. He's like, listen, you need something, let me know. I got you. I put you in a good position. So like, you know, I'm making connections. So like he got a real big one coming in March. I seen he posted it earlier, March 29th, I believe. So like, you know, I'm gonna make it out to that. Like, you know, it's all about making connections, and like I think I've done everything that I could as an individual in this area, right? Like, yeah, there's still things, but down there is where the connections become reality, in a sense. You know, and it's not a knock on what's here or people here at all, because I'm trying to take everyone, as many as I can. I'm trying to take them with me so they can make it too.
Hey man, sometimes you just got to create the path so that way, you know, import and export, you know, again, like there's a dope trail along the way, you know, like just like artists all over, like especially out here, man. Like you said, like there's like we all definitely gotta like, you know, band together, you know, have everybody, you know, do their fucking thing, man. Like, you know, and shit.
Right.
I'm really excited for this fucking show next weekend too, man. Like this is gonna be fire, you know, to be able to like bring that, you know, that 845 all the way to Queens and shit.
Absolutely, and that's what we got to do. You know, we got to start bringing what we have everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to, you know, we got to the main stuff, which is what I wanted to do. Because now, you know, you've seen this show before. You know, I play a game on here called Honest Picks. I saved it for last because I wanted to make sure we talked about the merchandise, the music, and the show.
All right.
So now we're gonna go to that.
Oh shit. Man, I already know how this is gonna go. Fuck.
Yeah, you know, a lot of guests really hate this game. You know, a lot of them were like, "Yo, bro, you don't even play fair. You're messed up." I've gotten threats before.
I mean,
Yeah,
at least Nori lets people drink before he does his shit. Fuck.
yeah. Well, you drinking coffee, but I don't think that's gonna help you with this game.
Nah,
I,
probably not.
I don't
All
think it's
right.
gonna help you here. I'm just
God damn.
trying to find my list with the extra fucked up ones. Here we go.
Oh damn. All right.
You know what? I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna start with a real fucked up one.
All
Pete
right.
Rock
Cool.
and CL Smooth, or Rakim and Eric B.
Eric B and Rakim.
Okay. Outcast or a Tribe Called Quest.
Fuck. Seriously.
I'm asking one question. He's just
Damn. Nah. What's it called? Like, with all due respect, I just know Eric B and Rakim's work better. I don't know Pete Rock's solo shit, but I definitely liked the one album that had when they reminisce over you. I've heard
one of
that
my
album
favorite
before,
songs of all time.
and Pete Rock produced one of my favorite beats of all time. I believe "The World Is Yours," right, off Illmatic. He
Yeah,
produced that. Yeah, so like, like, shout out to Pete Rock, and he did a dope ass collab project with Common recently. So I don't want to I want to give this man his flowers. There's no insignificance. Like, whatever hot pick that I pick, I knew this shit was gonna fucking tear me apart. Cause Jesus Christ. All right, so you say Outkast versus A Tribe Called
Tribe
Quest.
Called Quest.
God, man.
Now you can't say both if you're not sure.
I'm not gonna say both. I'm gonna say A Tribe Called Quest, because if you didn't have Tribe, you probably couldn't have Outkast. Like, real talk. That Daisy Age shit, like anything native tongues, like I would say that, like, right there might be like the epicenter of like everything that Andre 3000 like does. Like, man, I'm gonna say Tribe though, but shout out to fucking everybody involved in anything to do with Outkast, because they've got, like, logistically, oh man, they got fucking robbed with the source. Like, that album, every album they've dropped is like 5 mics, I would say, but like to a certain like degree. So I'm gonna
Right?
still
Yeah.
say Tribe though, because those first 3 albums like set the tone. Like, People's Instinctive Travels, The Low End Theory, that Busta Rhymes verse is like
One of the
it's
greatest
still his
verses.
top 3 verses off a Scenario. And then Midnight Marauders is just perfect. Like, to have that type of consistency was like almost unheard of. You know what I mean? Like,
But
that right.
even that album they dropped a few years ago, you know, they still were able to keep they were still able to keep they were still able to keep it alive.
Oh,
Right? Like
absolutely. That definitely would have to like sway as far as like why I would say Tribe 2 as well, is that they literally had a good like 10+ year break from each other, and they got back to business like it was nothing, like right before Fife passed. Rest in peace. You know?
right, like you know, so people don't understand that,
And
you
then
know, like people don't understand, like, this is what it is. This is what people
yeah,
do.
yep. And then Q-Tip, he was behind 2 albums that really shaped me as a kid too. He was on the Infamous with Mobb Deep, and he also did One Love for Nas, Illmatic again.
Ooh.
So like, Tribe.
All right,
Not,
all right.
yeah.
EPMD or De La Soul?
Fuck. Oh my God. All right. See, this is where the debate goes, because like They both are good examples of like four back to back, like undeniably like dope albums. Like you can't sleep on either of them. God damn. Um,
He said, "Fuck."
fuck yeah, man. Because what's it called? It's double edged sword, because Pasanus and fucking and Dave, man, they fucking
Yo, you look
shit.
mad stressed out.
Yeah, man, this is ridiculous because I had 3 feet high and rising. My aunt actually put me onto that. Be myself and I, but that one Jennifer, oh Jenny, oh that one was fucking crazy. You know, actually I'm gonna go say EPMD, and this is crazy because I actually met Eric Sermon when I was 16 years old. I was working at Chester McDonald's, and he was popping through because they were on their way to a festival in Albany. And I was like the only one that me and my homie, because I put my homie on to Rampage. That was like my favorite EPMD joint, mainly because of LL's feature verse, but like overall, like just like that album actually, like business as usual, like that shit is again like top tier. Like they had 4 back-to-back classic albums, like each of them. So I'll say EPMD. But Eric Sermon was surprised that I even knew who he was. Like, I asked him about him and Parrish at the time. They were doing a comeback project called We Mean Business, and it dropped like a few months later and shit. I was like, that's dope. Like, got that shit as soon as I saw it at Target.
Yeah, EPMD. I just listened to their whole discography recently, and I'm just like amazed by
Actually, same. If you haven't ever checked it out, check out their solo shit. Like PMD got this shit called Underground Connection with this DJ from Japan, DJ Honda. He got some compilations too. Had Redman on some joints. I believe EPMD's done some shit with them, like consistently, like, But
absolutely.
yeah, but 3 feet high and rising, definitely, like, again, like that. I would say that connects to De La Soul too, or to Outkast too. Like anything that's like from that like native tongue like connection at all, just like the zaniness, like the idea of like being brave enough to just be risky and like be different.
Absolutely.
But EPMD definitely would be like the main, like the dynamic duo, like like the contrast between two of them, because they were both monotone and like their flow is just like so like different, but at the same time like they just meshed together like they were just one and the same.
Absolutely. All right, you ready for a mind fuck?
Here we go.
Biggie or DMX?
Fuck. God. Well, Biggie is in my top 5, but here's the thing though: DMX has always found his way into my top 5 back and forth whenever I check back. So that's the thing. I'm waiting for you to ask me about album versus album, but like if I really did it like that, like X did have 3 albums, but
I never thought about doing that to people.
yeah, I think I just inspired a new way to
give
everybody mind fucks. Great.
You're like, yep. You're like, great. I just found a way to make the game worse.
Yeah, I might have to flip it on you. Oh man. So I'm gonna say Biggie because he is in my top 5.
Yeah.
But I will say this: DMX's first album, like first 3 albums, like one of the greatest 3-album runs in a matter of like less than 2 years. Like
I think. See, it's hard. Because there's one other 3-peat for me that really just levels, that is on the same level with it. You have a few, but let me tell you, Kanye West, man, those first 3 albums. I think the notch DMX gets though is 2 in 1 year.
Oh yeah.
That and it's not like it was like one was great and one was like shitty. No, it was like, whoa.
And you got to look at you got to look at the time period that we're in, man, because like there were some spitters out there, man. Like, bro, another album that like really shaped me was Capital Punishment, Big Pun. You know, that table freestyle that they have. Like, I know with X and Pun, Cannabis, all them, like that shit is like a legendary like thing that's on YouTube now. Like motherfuckers just sitting at the fucking table spitting there like hard as shit. Like, you know, like there's so many different ways to go about this too, you know, because like Biggie brought in the locks, you know, to Bad Boy and shit. And like we got fucking shout out to the locks. The locks was fucking a hell of an influence on me. My cousin showed me 24 Hours to Live. And like I was just like hooked. That was a again top tier DMX verse, top tier fucking Jada, Black Rob, rest in peace again. DMX, rest in peace again. Like, yo, like I'm gonna say Biggie though. I'm gonna say Biggie though. But It's Dark and Hell is Hot got some of the most like craziest like the prayers is what does it for DMX. I think those prayers were so powerful. Like it's almost like you felt like he was praying with you or for you. You know what I mean? So like that's where
Absolutely.
like he definitely like his impact was crazy. Like the time that he had, like it's a damn shame. Like he should still be here. You know what I'm saying? That comeback album was gonna be something, and it really was when it dropped. You know what I mean? Like for those that like didn't hear it, like it was definitely like a good like goodbye project. You know,
Absolutely.
unfortunately. But yeah,
Now,
man, like you know,
Big Pun or Big L?
damn. I was I was listening to Big L earlier. This is crazy. I was listening to Big L earlier. I was revisiting lifestyles of the poor and infamous. And
Yo, you look so
I feel it's yeah, man, because like yo, like I ask people these questions too, bro. Oh my god. I'm gonna say pun. I'm gonna say pun. I think that Capital Punishment was like literally one of the greatest like hip hop projects of the 90s, like or in general, hip hop period, really. Like, you know, like because the only one that could really rhyme like that at that time is like Cool G Rap. And like that was like one of his idols. Like he literally has a whole skit dedicated to how he would piece himself together like a Frankenstein project and the Yeah
right.
Baby album. So like, and I'm like, God damn, that makes so much fucking sense, you know? And like you can hear it in the way like his knack to rhyme was crazy from Beware all the way down to the parental discretion joint with Buster Rhymes. Like he didn't hold back shit, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna say Big Pun. Rest in peace to Big Pun and Big L. Big L has some of the most legendary punchlines, one of the most legendary freestyles with Jay-Z. I think that freestyle might have made Jay-Z do what he did on Reasonable Doubt. Like, you know, like he definitely like the style switch for that was crazy. Like, you know, from that to what he was doing, I'm like, he was about to sign Big L before he passed too, you know? So like that connection is like even weirder, you know, as far as like just how like, you know, like he was about to like get that shit, you know? Like
Yeah.
that would have been a nice addition to the Rockefeller dynasty. Oh D, imagine him on the Dynasty Project, Lock Rock Familia. God damn, that'd be wow. Like,
Oh
but
man.
yeah, big pun.
Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. You're gonna say fuck again. I feel it with this one.
Damn.
Rakim or KRS-One?
Fuck. Ah. All right, they're very different in the aspect of how they rhyme, but their message is definitely one about like about knowledge, you know? So I like Criminal Minded better than I like Paid in Full because of the consistency. That's only
Okay.
because of the scratching. I feel like the scratching cuts like should have been a lot more brief. But you know, like other than that, like Criminal Minded got so much like fucking flavor, man. Like he was telling me telling people like, yo, I'm a teacher. I'm gonna teach you about poetry. And then it goes right to like, nah, man, what's it called? The South Bronx is coming for you. And then the storytelling on 9mm Go Bang, like 9mm Go Bang might be my favorite track on that entire album. Like just the storytelling was like insane in the way that la 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 la. He was incorporating like different genres. Like that was rule breaking, 100% rule breaking. But at the same time, it was trend setting. It was like it became standard. Like now we can like cross into shit. Like Run DMC had already done Walk This Way with Aerosmith. So like to be able to
Exactly.
do that and like connect that directly, that was fucking wild. You know, and I love. I grew up on the Beatles, so Criminal Minds, Boogie Down Productions will always get paid. Flipping the Hey Jude shit. So I'm gonna say KRS One because also KRS One got one of the biggest bodies of work in hip hop. In man has like 30 fucking albums between collabs and what he did with Boogie Down Productions. Like he had he basically like went like just under his own moniker KRS One. He went under his own like acronym,
Yeah,
without Boogie Down Productions. In those first three albums, doing that, Return to the Boom Bap, his self-titled album, I Got Next. Like again, that's a good 3 album streak right there too to talk about. But Rakim
absolutely.
set the standard for how MCs rap. Like that 3 syllable standard, especially heavy out here, like, just in general, that like those last 3 syllables, like rhyming was like everything, like that no nonsense shit. The fact that he almost sounded like he wasn't breathing when he was rhyming, like the way that people approached just rhyming in general, like internal rhyme, like like he would like rhyme the words like in between the bar before it ended, and the way he approached it, I think he was either a horn player or a saxophone player, I think, and he was very much into jazz. He grew up in a jazz family, I believe, and the way that he would do that was almost like, okay, I see what he did there. Like it's like writing from the perspective of the brass section. I'm like, that's cool. I like that, you know. But KRS One is like the battle. Like he went head to head with a whole crew of MCs, like not just like a whole crew. Like only other person that really had the balls to do that like afterwards was Ice Cube. It was his own group, like
Word,
so.
like
I mean, there's so many different ways you can go about it, but like I would say that Rakim and KRS One are like they're in the same realm. Like that fight could go either way. But just I'm gonna say KRS One just because like the connection I got to his music, especially. But Paid in Full is definitely some of the best 24 bars I've ever heard. Like as far as like a verse goes, like like there's no taking away anything from these guys. That's why these hot picks are such a mind fuck. And you got me going ape shit over here. But like this shit is wild, man. Like, oh my god. All right, next. Let's go for the next one. I know this one's gonna hurt.
Big Daddy Kane or LL Cool J.
Oh man. Yo, so my mom's friend, I guess what's it called? She was watching me. She let me pick between an Ice Cube album and an LL Cool J album. And I can't choose. And I landed on LL Cool J shit. And she said, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mouse ran up my hiney, took a smell, and ran like hell. Eeny, meeny, miny." And that shit stuck with me ever since. So I ended up getting LL's radio album and shit. And funny thing is, her husband was like, "Oh, cool. Here, you can take this one." He had Mr. Smith in there with the "I Shot You" remix at the end of it with Fat Joe and Prodigy.
Yeah,
One of my favorite Prodigy verses on there. Illuminati with my mind, soul, and my body. Keith Murray was on there. Foxy Brown was on there. Like it's it's crazy how you know that was like such like a back to back thing. He actually gave me some Eric Sermon CDs too. He gave me the second one, Double or Nothing. So
okay.
you could I could definitely say as far as lyricism goes, I would say Kane. But musically, I mean there are more LL albums, so I got more to choose from, like, as far as like that goes. But LL's got like some history in the game, you know what I mean? Like he pretty much like started off on Def Jam. He was like, he was the groundbreaking MC on Def Jam, aside from like, Beastie Boys doing what they did and shit and then blowing up. Like he was like the main guy, like for years. Like he was there from the jump, like probably like a good like 20 years on that label. So he helped build that. He was like one of the first few rappers to get into acting, like he's got mad accolades for days, and he still got it. This new album that he dropped recently is like insane, like the concept behind it and all that. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a hint on one off that album. Now that you mentioned LL Cool J for that, one of the artists that I plan on doing a track with is on that album.
On
the new LL album. Yeah, he actually just sent me back his verse yesterday. But one of those artists that are featured on that album, I shot a message to about a month ago, and he just sent me his verse recently.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: Judah and Static are in SC Stat. Judah Phenom and SC Static, two of the nicest MCs out of the 845. Everybody listening is on that track with me. There's one of those artists on there that's featured on that album that's gonna be on one of my projects coming out next year. So I'm gonna say LL based off of like influence. Like I've known about his music longer, but like Big Daddy Kane is definitely again one of those MCs that set the standard as far as rhyming goes. Like that that speed, like the speed raps, like set it off. The way he hit Raw, the original version of Raw is crazy if you've never heard it. There's this original version, a demo version with him and Cool G Rap, and they're just rapping like two long ass verses, like 40 something bars, like that right there, like some definite dope, like rare shit right there to hear. Like there's a demo out there, you should check it out. It's a raw demo version with Kane and G Rap. But I'm gonna say LL, wrap that one up. Fucking goddamn. All right, next.
All right, I'm gonna give you one more, and then we'll do my positive ending message and close the show.
Yep.
Black Thought or Andre 3000?
God damn. Oh, that's so fucked up. All right. So I'm gonna say Black Thought because Black Thought is the only motherfucker on that Big Pun album, Capital Punishment, that I feel personally stood toe to toe with him, like at the height, like at like equal level of rhyming. Like Black Thought literally did like a whole like his freestyle. It's like 9 minutes of him just spitting straight bars off the head is just legendary. Like, and I have not ever heard one whack project he's ever done with the Roots. He just started doing solo projects in the last like recent 10 years, and these past few years he's been on a run. He did this project with a band called El Michelle's Affair, who did a dope ass couple cover albums of Wu-Tang beats, like literally like with orchestras. Like they got a whole band behind Incarcerated Scarfaces and Criminology, all the like different random like Wu-Tang solo joints and group posse cuts, like wild. And then he did a project with Danger Mouse. It's got a Doom feature on it. Rest in peace. That's another reason. Actually, I got to talk about MF Doom. That's the main reason behind my name, actually. But I'm gonna say Black Thought, especially special fucking like flowers for fucking Andre 3K, because any feature verse that he's laid out in the past like 10 years of playing the flute and fucking not giving us an Outcast album and just doing his own thing because that's where he's at in his life. Like, like he's definitely one of the nicest with the pen. Like arguably. Like The Love Below is definitely a quality solo album, split as a double album. That was a nice little trick that they pulled, giving us both solo albums on
And
the double album.
like, see, people will be like, "Whoa, it ain't an Andre album." I'm like, "Nigga, that's an Andre album. Like,
Yeah,
it's an Andre album. He's by himself, except on Roses.
yeah,
Like, they had to do one together for the people.
yeah, absolutely.
They had to do one together. Now,
Yeah,
MF Doom, MF Doom, when he died, it hurt my feelings. Like,
yeah,
the first like time I heard MF Doom was Mad Villainy, Accordion. That was the first time I heard MF Doom. Living off borrowed time, the clock tick faster. Like, just the rhymes,
mm,
like it was mad impeccable. Like, people don't even realize how good he was. You know, like, and then all the alter egos. You had Metal Face Doom, Metal Fingers Doom, Mad Villain, Danger Doom, King fuck. What was it? King G.
King Ghidra
Yes.
and the
Yes.
Monster Island Czars. Yeah,
Like
see,
yo, like
he had
but
been doing it for a long time already, though. Like he was part of this group with his brother called KMD, and then his brother passed away, and then they both got dropped from the label right before that, and he disappeared for a few years, and he came back. The whole origin story behind it was is that like he's getting his revenge on the industry by doing shit on his own terms, and that's what we got to do as artists. I actually found out an hour after I just started a Spotify account and finally gave in to start streaming because I was strictly like, nah, I'll go on YouTube or I'll just buy the CD if I really like it. Like,
right.
I got Spotify, and then an hour later I found out he had passed away, and it's crazy that he passed away. 2 months before that day was New Year's Eve when they let everybody know in that newsletter his wife posted, and he had died on Halloween. So like, that's like one of those like I feel like it's like one of those legendary things that like he was just like, yeah man, like haha, like got you, like where we dress up and put on a costume, you know what I mean? It's kind of like eerie. That was the thing about him though, is that he was the mad villain, like the whole origin of Victor Von Doom sticking with him, the way that he split up the names. Like, he was
Yeah.
MF Doom, then he dropped a project as Victor Vaughn, then he dropped a project, he had a project with Danger Mouse as well called The Mouse and the Mask. Now, he had gotten paid for a second album by Adult Swim because Adult Swim had given them a bunch of samples for that Mouse and the Mask album. They were going to do a second album. They gave him money, they gave him the check. He cashed that shit and he fucking ran off on them with the bag because he was the motherfucking villain. You know what I mean? Like, the industry been robbing artists for years. It's time we do shit on our own terms.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Like,
after that, after that revelation, when he passed, I decided to just consolidate my name from what I was gonna make like a long ass name, like Crackerjack the Krillmatic, as Cdjk. All capital letters, just like Doom's was. Because I felt like personally, the game, just hip hop in general, as far as the MC aspect goes, but as far as like the culture goes, it needs a villain. Like, a lot of our heroes just are going, and I don't think that we're giving out enough flowers at the time. You know what I'm saying? So that the only thing we can do is just change how we approach it and make it a habit to the point where it becomes just second nature. Like, love people while they're here. You know what I'm saying? Like, give out the flowers now before like it's too late. But at the same time, get yours unapologetically by anybody that stands in your way, especially the industry. Just be your own industry. You know what I'm saying? Your own
absolutely.
entity. Like, basically, like, you determine your worth. Decide what today's price is, because yesterday's price ain't gonna be today's price.
Nope.
Like,
Not at all. And it shouldn't be.
yeah, setting the tone for that shit. So now I got one for you, a hot pick, and this is the
Okay.
only one that I'll do. All right.
Okay, I'm listening.
Ice Cube or Scarface?
See, it's weird because when I look at Cube, like when you look at Cube now, you think of the actor, right? I haven't listened to his new album. He just released one. But the fix, man. The fix.
Yep.
One that album alone is different.
Yeah.
But I gotta go with Impact. And for me, Ice Cube had the greatest diss track of all time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Ice
That's
Cube
definitely for sure.
Ice Cube brought in a type of viciousness with rapping and just hardcore style that not many people did, if any, before he did it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. You like,
Yep.
oh, okay, okay, okay. So to
I got a
like,
crazy story about that album too. That's another one that I picked out of my grandmother's catalog that I got by mistake. Right, 12 years old. But hey, I had a good Christmas. But
yeah,
yeah, man, that's another album run you could look at. If you start with Straight Outta Compton and include the Kill At Well EP, On the Way to Predator, he had a good album run, like a 5 good album run. And if you take away the Kill It Well EP and keep the first NWA album, you got Lethal Injection, which like over the years, like yo, honestly, like that was a crazy ass run. But as far as the impact goes, I would say that Ice Cube had more of a mainstream impact, but I would say that like as far as underground goes, Scarface definitely, because shit like Assassins, uh My Mind Playing Tricks on Me, like 6 Feet Deep, like all those songs about like death and shit, like the less pretty side of shit, because everything was being kind of glamorized, like his stories were crazy, like he wrote My Mind Playing Tricks on Me, all of it except for Willie D's verse, but that was supposed to be his song, but they threw it on the album really quick. So that like was a very deep approach to like schizophrenia, like at one point like so much post-traumatic stress to the point where like you're seeing shit,
yeah,
or just like being awake up all night, intrusive thoughts and shit, intrusive visions, all those things, like you know so approaching from that aspect, I feel like it gave people more of a like deeper like analyzation of like what goes on in your mind, you know what I mean? But Cube definitely got a very good album run. He definitely helped set the tone for what led to that. I think what he did with NWA is in turn kind of why we have like shit like Ghetto Boys and Scarface, and MCs of that nature, and that like in that category. But I would definitely say Scarface.
okay, okay.
Yeah, and then that'll be the only hot pick. I can't wait for the show next weekend. Thank you again for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So appreciate you coming on. We got to do this again. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, and anyone who will watch this back next week, next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is episode 50. Like, y'all don't know how excited I am for
Hell yeah.
episode 50. My guest will be Stephanie Miller Henderson. She is a impending business partner as well as an author. She has a PhD. She owns her own business. She works in the school district. She is just a completely great person. She's from Chicago. So, we're branching Honest Hour to different states now. We're hoping to get to different countries. My everlasting goal is they give awards for podcasts. I will win an award for having the best original podcast. I foresee it one day.
Hell yeah.
It'll happen, bro. Appreciate you. Try to enjoy what's left of your shift tonight. Appreciate you taking a little time out. Because I know it's about to be busy in Amazon if it ain't already. With
I appreciate the break, my man. Good looking. All right, I'll see you
we'll
soon.
talk. I will see you next Saturday. you know. And to everyone, have a good night. Be safe and be positive. Peace.
Peace.